All right, welcome back. Smallie Chaser Series 2024. Let's get into it. A lot of people, a lot of messages, lots of stuff, lots of excitement going down in the greater community, but also here locally. So it's been really great here. The weather, obviously, with Ophelia, dropped a whole bunch of rain here in our region in the DMV. But that's great. You know what I mean? Because we needed it, and that's kind of like how the holistic approach is to Smallie fishing, right? Especially if you're a river angler. And if you're river bassin, you know that these rivers change every single day. And that's the best part about river fishing, okay, and river bassin. And that's really what Smallie chasing is all about and the people that I've met really since moving to new haunts a few years back. Coming from the James River to the Potomac River, it's still smallmouth, but the smallmouth aren't the same. Their behaviors are a little different. The bait fish are a little different. All these things, just really, really distinguish different river systems from different river systems, right? And that's the beauty of where we are in our part of America and the geography that we have. We have so many river systems with awesome Smallie fishing that go untapped, right? That just don't ever have any focus on anything bigger than going out for a day of great Smallie chasing, right? There's no tournaments, there's no, events, there's no communities, those things. A lot of times, obviously, in a lot of these places, there's certainly no boater events, except for like in upper areas or lower areas or impoundments on certain rivers. So it's a lot of skinny water, it's a lot of wade fishing, it's a lot of tethering your kayak, it's a lot of all that stuff that just gets left out. Especially in the modern, what I call tournament fishing mentality that has crept into kayak fishing, okay? Where everything is broken against the tournament, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? There's a place for everything. I firmly believe that. We focus a lot on tournament fishing, the nationals, whether that be Hobie, whether that be KBF, or that be Bassmaster, right? Those are probably the three big ones, and then you've got some really great regional trails that are every bit as popular in their region as the nationals are. They probably have more people fishing. Trails like Queen City, Vinny does a great job down below our region, which is the region south of us, which is North Carolina, South Carolina, and that. But there's really not, a kind of structured organization focusing on, in our region, really like an in-depth, wide variety of river systems, meaning different rivers from like Rivanna to Rapidan to Rappahannock, all the way to the New River, or Jackson or Cinch or Upper James, right? Greenbrier in West Virginia, South Branch Potomac. A lot of people forget about that. I've had a lot of people message me about that. Okay, way upper Potomac, Paw Paw, Orleans, okay, Hancock, way up, right? People tend to forget about a lot of these areas of these rivers that are 300, 400 miles long, right? And we didn't used to be that way. But a lot of it is we've gotten into this mindset in kayak bass fishing to where we're fishing the same places repeatedly over and over and over again. And we're going to places that really, if we're all really honest, is it really about kayak fishing, or is it really about going to the same places that the MLF and Bass Elite Trail and the Bass Opens go to? Okay? Right? I mean, I firmly understand that if you got a lake in your backyard and you want to fish that lake in a kayak, I totally get that. It's not my poison. Okay? It's not a lot of people's poison. A lot of people, Smallies especially, we've got great lakes, okay, in the region. Don't get me wrong. Okay, Lake Champlain, okay? Cayuga. We got all in New York. We got great lakes. Don't get me wrong. And a lot of the bass, you've seen that in the last couple of years. A lot of the bass boating world, MLF, Bassmat, all that, go to those places. And that's great, and that's fine. Do those places really set up? Does Erie really set up? Is it a great event? Yes. But does it really set up for like a kayak angler on places like Lake Erie? Big bodies of water, big water. I don't think so. It does not take anything away from those lakes. Those are outstanding lakes. Those are outstanding fisheries. And I firmly understand why people. But we keep doing that. We keep going to more Gunnersville, Chickamauga, okay, Dardanelle, right? Erie, okay, St. Clair, okay, Champlain, big Winnie, okay, big bodies, right? And that's kind of where the bigs have gravitated towards, and they've kind of forgotten the river systems. And when they haven't, people said, Jay, that's not true. Hobie does this, Hobie does that. It's great, but Hobie goes to the same places. Other than this year, they went to the New River, which I'm thankful for that, because that's one of our fisheries in our region that's part of the Smallie Chaser series. Okay, that you can fish. Okay, or they go to Susquehanna, back-to-back years, or they go to La Crosse, Mississippi, Upper Mississippi, and the different pools back-to-back. Okay, they're the same is what I'm saying. And a lot of people have criticized the same thing in the boater community, that they're repeating going to the same places over and over. And from a conservation standpoint and a holistic standpoint, I don't care where you come from, that ain't good. It's not good when you pound a fishery with both MLF and bass and national kayak tours and local and regional tours every year, constantly from spawn to Labor Day. It's not good. We've seen that in our fisheries. All the biology reports are coming through with something's going on. What's going on? More people are fishing, okay? More people are buying boats. More people are fishing post-COVID. More kayaks have gotten sold. Although now this year's been a bad year from what I'm understanding from a lot of industry people. But, during COVID and right after COVID and that first boom, they were like booming, okay? Now they got an excess inventory, and now all the kayaks are going on sale and you're getting great deals, okay? I had a neighbor that just got I think it was like just over $1,000 kayak for $579. It literally was over $1,000 4 months ago. He got it for $579. Okay, that's what's happening because of supply and demand overall in the industry. And so for the Smallie Chaser series, we want to get back to where it was in the beginning, before people began to think and realize they could make money off it. That's just the truth, and I keep it real, okay? Because that's what tournament fishing is. Tournament fishing is a vehicle in which somebody is attempting to make money, okay? That is the reality that people need to face. These tournaments aren't set up for the anglers. The Smallie Chaser series is being set up for the anglers. It's their series. It's a series for anglers, run by anglers, to what anglers want and need and desire, okay? Because they don't want this stuff anymore. Most people that you talk to, unless you're a diehard tournament guy who you want to become a professional, are really over that 3-4 year run of just those series beating up on themselves for the dollar. And that's really what it is. Either it's personal to people or it is money. Meaning, we're going to come and take money from we're going to take registrations from you. Registrations are about money. Okay, registrations are about being able to pitch your series to sponsors for money. Okay, that's what it's about. All right, and that's what's getting reinforced year after year because it's becoming a business. We want to get away from that. We want to go back to the beginning when we were all on kayaks or wade fishing our creeks, okay, in skinny water, when it was all about the joy of fishing, all about, getting your PB, all about celebrating one another in the context of a day out on the water. Okay, yes, competition is competition. We all love competition. Otherwise, sports would be dead in this country. Because sports in this country is about money, okay? It's about eyeballs and views. Look at Colorado, okay? That team's not that good, okay? Right? Brand new team. What's the transfer portal about? Money, okay? Everything, okay? That's what we get at with everything else. And so we don't really want to we want to go a different direction. We want to go back to where things used to be, or at least we felt like they used to be, where, yes, there's competition, and yes, there's payouts, in 2024, and yes, but it's not this, like, uber competitive thing, or to such an extent where you've got groups on Facebook that pound other trails, right? That just, like, it's all about, you know what I mean? It's like, who cares? Like, doesn't matter in terms of those things, as long as you run a trail, with a sense of integrity, okay? If you don't, and I've covered some of those in the last 2 years on my YouTube channel that haven't lived up to that, okay? That haven't, we've talked about trails not paying payouts, right? All you guys know that. You guys know what's out there. And so people just walk away. They don't want to deal with it. Most people don't want to deal with that kind of stuff. And the cheating that goes on. And yes, cheating is prolific. Okay? There's cheating going on in monthly local series in our region. Okay? And sometimes it's even done by the people who are organizing the actual, events that don't abide by their own rules. Okay? And people know this. Doesn't mean people are going public. Doesn't mean that, it's going to make the news or going to make a Facebook group, but people just stop. People just stop registering for those events. That's their recourse. Is they're not going to go on their Facebook page. They're not going to go on Instagram. They're not going to slam the guy. They're not going to throw the guy under the bus. They're just not going to what? Register for those events. And we've seen that time and time again. I've seen that. Most of the people who follow my channel, at least on Facebook or in the Smallmouth Army Facebook group, know that really for the last year I've been working on a book for the Upper Potomac. And I can't tell you how many people I've met because my book is basically a chronicling of all the ramps and all the access points and all the spots in all the areas of the Upper Potomac. And so I'm going to all of these ramps and access points and meeting new people, okay? Meeting people every day that are Smallie chasing and talk to them and understand. So do you ever, no, tournament fishing is not for me. Those guys are crazy. Those guys are whatever, those guys will eat their young. You know what I mean? Those guys will cheat on their grandmother. That's the mentality, the broader mentality that has crept to the broader community, right? And so you're like, man, where does that come from? Where's all that coming from? And it just becomes this because people try to break themselves against, and I understand. One of the best groups on Facebook for kayak fishing is Kayak Bass Nation, and Kayak Bass Nation is a great group. And I understand that the orthodoxy of KBN, that it was, in the beginnings, a group that was railing against things, okay? And in particular, probably KBF, okay? It's Kayak Bass Fishing, the organization, for those who aren't familiar, okay? For whatever, for any number of reasons. And I'm not here to wrangle in the pros and cons or the rights and the wrongs and all that stuff. But they've got 15,000 members, And so when I first got introduced to that group, I was amazed. I was like, wow, just like KBF's got 40-some thousand, KBN's got 15-some thousand. It was different dynamic. Because again, with as much as people say the kayak community, understand there are always groups within groups. We are a group within the group, okay? Smallie chasers, we are a group within the kayak bass fishing community. We are probably the minority, okay, within the group, just in kayak bass fishing community overall, not the organization, but the community, okay? We are in the minority, okay? So how do you know that you're in the minority? Well, you're in the minority when really you don't ever get a say, or you don't ever get any engagement, or you don't ever get an ear, or you don't ever get anything. And a lot of times, how do people communicate to you that you're of value to them? They schedule your river, okay? A Smallie river, right? And so a lot will have, we call one-offs, will be a Smallie river and then 7 largemouth bass factories, right? Because they're catering more to the largemouth bass fishing groups in the broader community. And they are bigger, and they fish more, and they're willing to pay more for entry fees than most Smallie guys are. That's just truth. They are. Most Smallie events are in that under $50, $45, $35, whatever. And largemouths are north of 50. Sometimes 290, okay? Or 250 for bass, 290 I think for Hobie. 125 I think for KBF. So those, money, okay? That largemouth guys are willing to compete and pay larger entry fees. And therefore, they get the predominant scheduling consideration. Okay, they just do. That doesn't mean obviously there's not 2 or 3 Smallie events out of 8 or out of 9, but just do the math, do the add up. But I will tell you this: if you do, because you guys know me, if you do the metrics on events for the last 5 years, Smallie events do really, really well. In our region, we've got the NBKBA series, which is a great KBF Ambassador Club series in Virginia. They do a bronzeback yak challenge this year. They did it in May. I think the year before, I think they did it in late summer. It's usually one of their best attended events. Okay, because that's what we want. There's a need. There's something out there. Like there's an untapped, in our community of people who fish and chase smallies that we love to do. I do 3 times a week, 4 times a week. Like, again, and this is my favorite season right now, which is why. So people send me a message like, so what's the monthly about? Why are you going to do a monthly in the fall? Why are you going to do a monthly in October and in November on Turn the X? And it's and why are you doing it? Like I can't believe. I mean, I had like a dozen messages that were like, dude, why are you doing a free? Well, you can't do a free monthly. What do you mean I can't do a free monthly? You can't do a free monthly. I mean, you're gonna have to pay for all the on Turn the X or Fishing Chaos or iAngler or whatever it is. You're gonna have to pay for those anglers to fish. It's not free. I mean, you must be a complete moron. I was like, okay, not the first time somebody's called me a moron, like okay, or a clown or any of that stuff. I don't care. It's not about that. Okay? That's what gets lost in the mix, is you're making it about money. I don't make things about money. I make things about relationships. I make things about people's passions. And I make things about the character of people. That's what I do. I don't make things about money. Okay? So the whole point of having a free monthly in October and in November for the Smallie Chaser series is because 80% of the people that I've come in contact with that are really, really love chasing smallies in a kayak or love to wade fish for smallies, they have no experience on these tourney apps, these catch photo release apps. None. They don't. And so what better opportunity to bring more people to Tourney X, right? More people to catch photo release and that conservation mindset, okay, than to offer a free monthly, right? And to get them before 2024 and the season starts, and there are entry fees, and there are single-day tournaments, and there are monthlies, and there are 2-day overnight tournaments. Get ready for that. Okay? River float tournaments for, 25-mile river float, 2-day overnight tournaments. Okay? I mean, there's so many different directions we can go in. And this is when I get back to what I was saying about Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation is a phenomenal group on balance of different people coming from different perspectives into that community. And what really has amazed me on 2 fronts. One, they, about a year ago, was it 2021? I think it might have been 2021. They did a great charity series for an angler's son going through medical issues, right? Unbelievable response from their community, okay? In terms of registering up on Tourney X for an event benefit for that family. And I looked at that and I was like, a couple months afterward, after it was all kind of like shook out and all that stuff, and it was great, and people donated all kinds of prizes and people donated all kinds of stuff from the community. And then I was just like, wow, man, that model is fantastic. Like, you know what I mean? Not only do you get to fish, but you get to fish for a little boy or a benefit or a charity or a hospital or an organization that take cares of veterans, take cares of a program that take cares of autistic kids, special needs kids. You get to do that, and you get to fish. And you got a shot at some great prizes from the industry. And then after that, nothing. Like, it was like the model just got presented to everybody that was paying attention. Interest. What does a business want? Interest. If you're running a business, interest, engagement, participation. You had all that in that. And I kind of feel like as a group, that Kayak Bass Nation is an untapped resource. If Kayak Bass Nation really was like, you know what? These people are doing it wrong. These people are not doing it right. These people are not listening to anglers. These people are not really providing the service mindedness that we want in our kayak community for all the people that are in it. We should go up and form our own trail. Like, why wouldn't Kayak Bass Nation form a national monthly trail? Right? And I know people will say, Jay, but it's because they bashed the challenge series as being a joke for KBF for so long, they would be hypocrites to do that. So what? You evolve. You adapt. That's what you do. That's what the Smallie Chaser series is about. It's about evolving and devolving. What does that mean? It means getting back to the way it used to be, where we all used to love, and what we all used to love about being out on the river and chasing smallies. Okay, and yes, in a competitive environment, but not uber competitive and not people just breaking themselves against each other and losing, all of the joy of fishing because of Facebook, right? Because of Facebook groups and because of animosity and because of jealousy and because of, I'm not about beating people up when they're down. Like, it's like, again, there are bad actors. There are bad actors that need to be called out. We've seen that in the last 2 years. If you've watched my channel for a blink, I'm not about not calling out bad actors. Okay? And then people come after me. People came after me. People came after me and like, you would unbelieve because I'm a threat. Like, I'm a threat. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not part of the cartel. Okay? I'm not part of that cartel that's bought and paid for. Okay? I'm independent. I'm an independent thinker. I'm a critical thinker. I look, I listen, all that kind of stuff is, and so I want to, and there are a lot of people that are like me that are like, look, I don't want any part of that. Like, it's just, and so, but that's not taking away with like the local series. We've had a lot of great local and regional series, and I encourage you to fish those series. Fish series like KBF's Smallmouth's summer series ends this Saturday, September 30th. Okay. And then the fall series starts on October 1st. The river series starts on October 1st. You've got DMV Bronzeback Challenge in the DMV. You got to be a resident, I think, of DC, Virginia, and Maryland to fish in that. Great little series. You've got NVKBA, Kayak Masters series in Virginia. Okay, great series. Again, there are great series of people that are doing it right. Okay? And there are also people that aren't. There are also people that are in it for them. Okay? A series is not about a tournament director. A series is not about, that in terms of, setting up a series for your own personal benefit. Okay? If it is, get out. If you see that, get out. Okay? Because a series should be about the anglers. It should be angler-centric in providing that community what they really desire. And our community wants more skinny water river, wants to be able to tether their kayak, wants to be able to portage, wants to be able to put in public areas that aren't just ramps and access that are off the side of the road, but it's the area has accepted the fact you go up the Upper Potomac, you're allowed to park on right next to the canal and go and put in. It's public property. It belongs to all of us. Okay, we want to get back to that. If you're allowed in your jurisdiction, in your state, in your county, and as long as you're abiding by the easement, as long as you're abiding by the laws, okay, of bridges and all of that stuff, then, that's what we used to do. But because of all the wrangling of competitive tournament fishing and the back and forth and the piss and the moan and whatever, that guy this and that guy that and whatever, they've got all these 3 pages worth of rules to govern events, right? When you can just lay it out there. Look, man, you can do it too. Stop bitching, right? We're not gonna create rules to hinder someone's passion of actually doing their own research and doing their own time, putting the time in. What do you think these people do that are professionals? People are using Google Earth. People are using Navionics. People are using anything. Okay, why do we need to do that when everybody has the opening? I encourage you to check out the Kayak Adventure Series, KAS, starting in 2024. They're also, in my opinion, returning back to River Bassin, which is what people want. Why do you think KBF came out with a smallmouth series? Why are they coming out with a river series, monthlies? Because it's what people want. Okay? It's a new evolve and adapt is what you have to do. You do. And otherwise you see registrations fall. Okay? People get bored. People get bored going back to the same places every time. If you're an angler, if you're like us, join our community. The Smallmouth Army, live the Smallie life. We go fishing different places, different stretches, different sections all the time. We want to find new fish. Okay? We don't want to go to the same lake that sets up the same exact way every single time we go. That's just not how we're wired. Okay? That could be how other people are wired, but Smallie chasers aren't wired that way. Like, we want the adventure. We want, these things. We want to go and find fish that nobody's fished for, that nobody's even thrown that bait. We want to present baits in front of Smallies they've never seen before. That's who we are. And we need to get back to who we are instead of having to adapt to who they are. There's nothing wrong with largemouth bass fishermen. There's nothing wrong with largemouth tournament trails. But that's not who we are. Okay? Really, it's not how we're wired. It's like trout guys are wired different, right? You run the salmon run up in New York, them guys are wired different. We're wired different. That's all. It's not one better than the other. It's not, this or that. We're just wired different. And so that's the whole point of Smallie chasers. It's like, hey, look, this is what we want to do. We want to fish our regional river systems, all these river systems. So if you live in the southwestern Virginia, if you live in West Virginia, if you live in Maryland, if you live in western Maryland along the upper Potomac or the Monocacy, if you live in central Virginia and you're off the I-95 corridor and you want to fish Rappahannock, Rapidan, Rivanna out of Charlottesville, you can, right? You don't have to travel 2, 3, 4 hours, okay, for events. They're going to be positioned around the region, okay, in close proximity. Monthlies, you can go out at your convenience and fish whenever you want, okay? And do your thing. Chase them Smallies the way you want to chase them, okay? You don't need Big Brother. You don't need Big Brother always over your shoulder, always looking. Everybody has the same opportunity, okay, to get out there within the parameters of the rules, obviously, that will be articulated and determined. But they're pretty basic rules. It's no more, obviously it's an artificial only series. It's not a live bait series, okay? That will be the number one question a lot of people are concerned about, because you've got guys in these monthlies in the largemouth bass community throughout the region throwing freaking live bait and participate in these monthlies. You do, okay? Stuff runs across my messages all the time. But, it's not my place. Those trails have to deal with that themselves. Those trails have to investigate themselves. And it's really hard to determine, if a guy, unless you've got video evidence that a guy is out fishing with live bait in a reservoir or lake or in a river or throwing shiners and minnows and snakehead destroyers and, again, unless there's video evidence, and that goes to the integrity of the people. That goes to the integrity of the people who are actually fishing in the community. And so that's the other problem. People got to take that upon themselves, okay? And people do need to bring that attention to those tournament trails and those tournament directors, just so things are on the radar. A lot of times where there's smoke, there's fire, okay? A lot of times. I'm sorry, but that's just, oftentimes that's where that is. And that's not what we want in our community. That's not what we want. We want to be able to go out and have be able to log fish, be able to catch fish, be able to enjoy each other, celebrate each other, get each other, celebrate each other's sponsors, right? Again, provide people the opportunity to actually put their sponsors before our community. Talk about their sponsors, summertime, fall, winter. Think the problem with the kayak, a lot of times the problem with the fishing industry has always been, and I just had this conversation at an event, expo, an industry, is fishing shuts down in the northeast, right? In about a month or 2 months, it just shuts down. Things ice over, right? All this stuff. And so basically, audience shrink, content shrinks. We want to change that. We want to change that dynamic. So we have all kinds of things 12 months a year for those people. If you want to go ice fishing, go ice fishing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why should everything just stop? Because I love to fish in the fall, but I got neighbors, I got guys that live in my community that are they're already getting ready to winterize their boats, right? It's it baffles me, because all of my PB Smallies have come in the fall. They haven't come in the spring and the summer. They come in the fall and early winter. I'm talking biggins, right? And so why not? Why not provide something for those individuals that are willing to get out there in November, get out there in December. What happens if we have a mild winter like we've had the last couple of years, where we don't get snow until freaking late February, right? We don't ice over in the mid-Atlantic, and the fish are still biting. The fish are still there, you know? That's what we want to change. So this is just a quick update for that Smallie Chaser series. Okay, you can find it at JL Scott Fishing and Eats. You can find, you know, the image of the rivers right now and the divisions. The monthlies will be a combined, so you'll be able to fish in the monthly in October and November in totality, meaning the divisions won't be separated on Tourney X. It doesn't have that ability. I've talked to Dwayne. So we'll have the monthly, and then we'll basically have a bunch of different winners from the free monthly. So we'll have a winner from each division who's fishing from, as long as all 5 fish registered are from rivers in that division. So if you got 4 Smallies from the Roanoke, and then you've got a 5th Smallie that's in the central, like Piedmont, then it's got to be, you got to make it like, okay? So pick rivers in the one division, pick rivers in the other division so you can participate in that. Otherwise, you're not going to be part of that mix, okay? It's just, you know, that's just the only way we can do it. Because we don't want to run 2 separate monthlies and all that initially as a free monthly. This also allows you in a free to be able to, you know, fish wherever you want to fish and try new rivers out. That's the whole point, because it's a free series. Go to new places. Pre-fish. Why not? Take advantage of the free monthly and go pre-fish some areas and some rivers for next year, right? Like, you know, there are a whole bunch of dynamics, but the most part is most people don't have any experience on some of these apps, and this gives them an opportunity to be able to practice loading fish and understand how the app works, understand how they can do that in the basis, and plus not have the stress of having to do it right away when they catch their fish. They could catch their fish. They could put it on their catch board. One thing with the boards, we're hoping that Yak Attack releases their new leaderboard early 2024, and we can go to that board. Because Yak Attack is within our region. We want to support the businesses that are within our region, okay, that are a part of the fishing community. That is what we are all about. So when that leaderboard comes out, hopefully we'll be able to transition. We'll be able to have some prize packs with a leaderboard. We'll be able to go more towards a membership basis, maybe. And then as part of that membership, you could get a leaderboard. Okay, so when you sign up to be a member, you get a Yak Attack leaderboard. I think that would be great. And I think we can work that out as long as we can have that, you know, as long as that product and all that stuff becomes on, you know, online at some point in 2024. Something to grow into in that regard. But on Tourney X, to give you that experience of doing that, having a great day of fishing, going home. You know, it's going to be, it's chilly, having some cider, right? Have that pumpkin pie, whatever you got going on, and load your fish on the Tourney X, okay? And practice loading it up and getting it and all that stuff in a less pressured environment. So in 2024, when you compete in a single-day event, or you compete in a 2-day event, or, you know, that you are already wired up, you're good to go. Like, you've got experience loading fish. We'll have a big fish and we'll have a dink fish. And people have asked me all this time, well, you know, are you gonna have the 14-inch minimum? No, I'm not. We're not. If you catch a fish, it counts. We're freaking Smallie chasers. I can go out to the freaking river right now. It's 62 degrees. I can go out to the river right now and catch 15 to 18, 8 to 10 inch bass. Okay? Do they don't count? I still caught them. You're still catching them. The point is to catch fish, okay? The point's not to catch, right? Like, everyone wants to catch their PB. Everybody wants to catch, right, the biggest length. We get that, okay? But that's really not the mentality. The mentality should be catching fish. All of your fish count. And at the end of the day, your best 5 are going to be your total. Your best 5. And maybe that 6-inch or that 8-inch smallmouth bass is what pulls you over the top to win. Think about that. A lot of these events across the kayak bass fishing community are won by the narrowest of margins, okay? But it's still your best 5, so what? So what? You know what I'm saying? It's still your best 5. So if you go out there and you catch a bunch of 16s and 17s and 18s and 20s, awesome. If you go out there and you catch a bunch of 8s, 9s, 10s, and 12s, awesome. You know where you're going to end up on that board, right, at the end of the day. And if it's about that board at the end of the day, really, maybe it's not for you, right? But if that board at the end of the day is a part of all of what it is, then this series will be something for you, I think. Because we are going to allow those dinks. We are going to let them and award someone who actually, because sometimes those smallish fish, fight the hardest, fight the longest, and are a pain in the ass to freaking get registered up on a fishing app to begin with. Okay? So if you can get that 6-inch on that catch board and you can get it to sit, God bless you. Okay? Like, you should be rewarded for that because it's a pain in the ass. And celebrate that. And be the guy who freaking, man, I'm the Dink Fest master. Right? And he's going to get a prize pack. Okay? And so all the free monthlies will be like prizes. We'll do combinations from sponsors and from bait makers and from the community and apparel and things like that. And then we'll do some things that in 2024, we're going to do some different things that nobody's doing. Okay? In terms of participation. For example, if you're going to win these monthlies, if you win a monthly, if you win the monthly, then, part of your prize pack very well may be your first single day tournament admission registration is free, right? That could be part of your prize pack. So it's like, that's a significant, that's a significant part of that prize pack. Baits, apparel, free admission, gift card, whatever it is. Those are all the different rods. Those are all the different things, components of the prize packs that you're going to be able to do while you're actually in class. That's the way I look at it. You're going out in class on the river in the fall in a free monthly. That's what you're doing. You're going to learn the Tourney X app. You're going to find new water, find new fish, fall fish. Maybe you haven't falled fish for a while. This provides you the incentive to get out there, okay? To be able to participate in this, right? This is what it does. Okay, find new fish, find big fish, find new pools, find out. Okay, maybe something happens. You're like, man, this fall fishing, I'm really down with this fall fishing. Like, it's like, and you've extended your season. That's what it's about. Okay, and that's what we want to do with everybody. So obviously, I am open. You can always reach me, JL Scott Fishing and Eats. You can reach me on TikTok. Send me a message on Instagram. I don't care. It doesn't matter what platform. If you've got any questions for me or things you'd like to see or things you don't like about other trails, about things that just like, I want to hear the reasons why you haven't registered for an event. Like, I want to hear that. I don't want to hear how great an event is. I want to hear why you haven't registered for KBF, why you haven't registered for like Hobie or a regional series, why you haven't taken that step. What is it? What's the hurdle that we need to get over to bring you into the community so you live a Smallie life? Okay? That's what it's about. Like, most of us live a Smallie life, okay? We live, breathe freaking smallmouth bass, okay? And it doesn't matter. I have no truck with people bank fishing. I have no truck with people wade fishing. I've got no, Kai, I don't care if you run a motor or you don't run a motor. It doesn't, because there are different applications. Again, there are different strokes for different folks, okay? Depending on where you are. I don't care if you run a Hobie. I don't care if you run a Hoodoo. To me, it's great. I know what works for my river system, and what works for my river system may not work for yours. That's just the truth, okay? And so you got to figure out, this works for me in my river, where I live, the river I'm going to fish predominantly, but also works if I go some other place. And you provide that, and you educate people in the community, and you tell people why it is, why I run this, why I run that. I mean, I run stuff. People look at me like I'm like, what brand is that? Never heard of that brand. Never heard of Hoodoo. Never even heard of what? You switched from Old Town to Hoodoo? What? Like because it's just different. Tidal skiff on the Tidal Potomac, a kayak skiff just is freaking the best freaking platform. Kayak skiff's the best freaking platform. I'm sorry, you've been out on the Tidal Potomac? Have you seen what happens on the Tidal Potomac? Right? It's just the best platform. It's not a smack at anybody else or another brand or another. There's some big water kayaks coming out right now in 2023. Okay? I mean, because they're going to address, again, that need in the market. There's a need in the market for big water kayaks. There is. If you're going to schedule Erie, and you're going to schedule Champlain, and you're going to schedule St. Lawrence, and you're going to schedule the Potomac River, and places like that, that's big water. It may get skinny in the creeks, but it's also big water in the channels. Okay? And so again, that's what you want to be able to think about. And so River Bassin is about getting back to that skinny water, getting back to that portaging, getting back to that carrying that kayak 30 yards down to the bank. Okay? Getting back to that, finding that honey hole, finding that spot, doing your work, putting in the time, and again, if you're not willing to do that, you can't bitch, okay? Because that's what fishing's about. That's what River Bassin truly is. River Bassin in the big tournament fishing, okay? River Bassin is getting in there, cutting the branches, okay? Okay, like bending the branches back, sliding up over that log, getting on there in the back. Okay, that's what River Bassin is. Okay, that's what we need to get back to. That's what I want to get back to. Because that's how I know most of you guys who are tuning into my channel. I know that's how you fish. I watch your freaking TikTok videos. I watch your Instagram videos. I see what you're doing. That's what we all do. Cut that branch, break that branch, slide up over that log, jump that thing, right? And get on back in there where no one's going back in. Like that. That's how we live. That's the Smallie life. Right? Why we got to go compete in these events that have nothing to do with this, that don't even set up even remotely how we fish, how we like to fish. Okay? So the Smallie Chaser Series is about getting back to that, chasing Smallies, however you chase them. Whether you chase them in a kayak, whether you want to chase them wade fishing, okay? All of those things. You want to stand out in the middle of the damn river and freaking catch them Smallies. You want to stand below the dam at dam 4, okay, and catch them Smallies and a couple walleye. Go, awesome. More power to you. Dam 3 above Harper's Ferry, Upper Potomac. Okay, old dam. It's not really a dam anymore, but you know what I mean. Rock launch, rock drop. Okay, do it. That's what it's going to be about, okay, for 2024. So that's just a really quick update, okay? Just a preview of a preview because we're in preseason, okay? It's preseason. I know everybody else is having their main seasons right now in sports and football. College football is underway. NFL's underway. All that stuff. But this is our preseason, okay? As we're setting up for 2024, offering these monthlies, getting it out there, introduce it. It's free. Try it out. Try Tourney X out if you've never been on Tourney X. Never been on Tourney X, you've always been on another app. It's a free event. You got nothing to lose. Register up for it. Have some fun. You know what I mean? That's what it's really all about. That's what we really all want to do. Get away from all the other drama. Get away from all the other mess. We've all been there. We've all had enough of it. And just fish, man. And live the Smallie life.